get you some. Oh yeah. Mate, it's lucky she can cook. Wow.
G'day lovelies, welcome back. So today we're doing Dad's Pea and Ham Soup. I was born in 1971 and both my younger sisters were also born in the 70s. So I call my dad the 70s and 80s dad. Now if you were born in the 70s, you would know exactly what I mean. They're a completely different breed in a whole category of their own. Just like we are as Generation X. So a couple of days ago, I called my dad up to get his exact recipe, and it went like this. Alright Dad, so first of all, how many split peas? 3 cups, love. Okay Dad, are they like measuring cups or are they your own cups? Oh, don't be silly, they're my own cups. They're not like big mugs, they're like coffee cups. Alright Dad, so say if you had a 500 gram bag in front of you, how much of that would you use? And he goes, oh, all of it and a little bit extra. And I said, well, how much extra? And he said, oh, a little bit. So as we go along, I'll try and work out Dad's measurements versus the measurements that we've got in our measurement cups, etc. So anyway, so I'm like, so you soak your peas? And he's, oh, yes, love. See, a lot of people don't soak the green split peas. But please remember, this is Dad's recipe. Well, I put them in the pot at lunchtime, say 12 o'clock. And then I'll start making the soup the next day at 10 o'clock. Alright, so 22 hours soaking. Yep, that's right, love. Okay, what's next? And he goes, pearl barley. And I'm like, what? You don't put pearl barley in your pea and ham soup, do you? And he goes, oh yeah. Now, I have not had Dad's pea and ham soup in a very long time, and I know I used to love it. And back in the good old 70s and 80s, it really was a dad thing. In my family, my dad made it and my nana made it. So, pearl barley. Okay, how much pearl barley? Oh, not as much as the green peas, but a lot. And it's like, well, how much, Dad? And he goes, oh, I say 2/3 of the amount you put in of the peas. Well, there you go. So our standard cup measurement is 2.5 cups is 1 whole bag. So, Dad, your coffee mug is pretty much right on. So if we fill up another 1/2 cup from another bag, that would make sense for a whole bag and a little bit. So we want 3 cups in there, which is a bag and 1/2 cup, but you can just do a bag. Now he says cover it with water, but make sure you put a decent amount in there so you don't have to add more later. Now I'm going to cover it up with a lid. And that's just because it's going to sit on the bench for 22 hours and it just stops dust and bugs and insects or whatever getting in there. So I've got another pot for the pearl barley. Now I know I have got 3 cups of the green split peas. I'm going to do 2 cups of the barley. Alright, so it's lunchtime, 12 o'clock, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock in the morning. Good morning, lovelies. It's 10 o'clock. It's raining hard outside. Ooh, what a day for soup. So I asked Dad, what do you do with your peas and your barley once you've soaked them? Do you drain them? Do you put them in a strainer and clean them with running water? I throw them both in the pot like that. I'm like, what, with that water? And he goes, yeah, it's flavour, love. What, don't you like flavour now? I'm not going to throw them all in with that murky water. I'm just not doing it. But to get as close as Dad's recipe, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drain most of the water out. I'm not even going to rinse them. Now for the pot, I'm using my crusty trusty. I've had this for a couple of decades, so you'll just have to excuse how well it's been used. So across the middle of my pot, it is exactly 30 centimetres wide. And it is 16.5 centimetres tall. Alright love, next thing we've got to talk about is the ham hocks. Alright Dad, how many do we use? Oh, you want about 2.5 kilo. I'm like, really, that much? And he goes, oh yeah. So they actually had really big ones there this time. They also had a couple of weird looking small ones as well. So I grabbed 2 big ones, which ended up being the 2.3 kilo. So then I said to Dad, okay, is there anything special we need to do with the hocks? Oh, yes, love. You need to get them cut up. I'm like, what? And he goes, you need to get them cut up. If they're small, you might only need 3 or 4. If they're big, you might need to get them cut into 5 or 6. I'm like, really, Dad? You get them cut up? Oh, it's the best way, love. So because these are really big ones, I got them to slice them into 5. Now the IGA at Mannum has its own butcher in there. Massive shout out to you guys. You're absolutely awesome. I'm always going in there, getting them to cut up weird stuff, and they're always fantastic about it. Alright, Dad, so I'll get my hocks and I'll make sure they're all cut up. Now, what do? Do I cut all the skin off them? What? Why would you want to do that? What, you don't like fat now, love? Well, Dad, yeah, I don't mind a little bit of fat. Like, who doesn't like a little bit of fat? He goes, oh, look, if you have to, when you go to serve it up, you can always take the fat out. You don't have to leave it in there. But, oh, why wouldn't you? It's flavour. Alright, Dad, what's the other reasons for cutting them up? When you go to serve it, you have to put a bone in every bowl. He goes, oh, look, the bone might not even have any meat on it. But the best part about a pea and ham soup is you pick up that bone and you suck it clean. 70s and 80s, Dad. Say no more. Now we want to put all of them into our pot first. Oh my God, mate, look how much meat is in there. Alright, I'm getting a bit excited. Okay, Dad, what's next? Salt. 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm like, oh my God, mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put the 2 teaspoons in now, but I will put it down in the recipe below as a total option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it until the end of the cook. I'm going to taste it, and if it needs salt, I'm going to put it in then. Alright, Dad, what's next? Pepper. Okay. 4 teaspoons. What? 4 teaspoons? Are you nuts? 4 teaspoons, love. Now, I would just like to say for the record, I called Dad in the morning so he wasn't pissed. Because trust me, the craziness just keeps going. Okay, so what I've done is I've got a really old antique set just to show you guys. But all the original teaspoons are gone. So I reckon the grandkids come over, and when they have their little chocolate pudding cups, I'm pretty sure they just threw the teaspoon in the bin with the cup. I mean, there's no other explanation for it. I tried to get them as small as the original teaspoons, but that one is still a little bit bigger than the original. So I would say Dad's still got all of his old stuff. So an original old school teaspoon, I reckon that would have been a full one. So I'm just going to put it in here just to see. Which is exactly what I thought. So as I was putting the pepper in, it just kept going and going. So I've decided 1 teaspoon of our proper teaspoon measurements is perfect. If you've got your original old school little teaspoons, you can definitely do 4 of them. Only if they're little. Now for our old school spoon. So this would be classed as the dessert spoon, or just what we class as a normal spoon. And you get 1 big one in your set, and that is your tablespoon. Okay, Dad, what's next? 8 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And I went, what? 8 tablespoons? Are you sure I didn't call too early? He goes, well, it depends, love. Depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes it's 10 tablespoons. No, we'll say 10 tablespoons. Alright, Dad, I'll put 8 tablespoons in. So I'm going to measure out on an old tablespoon. How much is that? Yeah, I'm going to make a whole mess. I'm doing it left-handed. How much is that in a tablespoon measurement? So I would say that is just over half. So that's going to make it interesting. So if he reckons 8, so I reckon one of them would do 3, 6. So I reckon 6, 7. Okay, so by my calculations, we're going to put 6 tablespoons in of our measuring tablespoons. So 6 tablespoons. Okay, Dad, well, what's next? Well, that's it, love. Now you're pouring your peas with your water. And I'm like, hang on a minute, don't you put carrots or onion or celery? Oh, of course you do. I just don't think about it when I do it. I forgot all about them. I'm like, so celery? Oh no, you don't need any of that. 1 large onion and 1 large carrot or 2 medium carrots. We want to peel them and we want to chop them up really small and throw them in the pot. And what about a bay leaf? No, you don't need that. Now we want to put our barley in and our split peas. Alright Dad, last but not least, how much water do I put in? I can't remember how many inches he said, but of course he said it in inches. So Dad was a fitter and turner for most of his life, so mathematics was a big part of that. And he takes total offence to centimetres, etc. He still believes everybody should be on the metric measurements. Like I said, 70s and 80s Dad. So that means about this much water. So I'll just give it a little stir around the outside, just gently. I want to leave the meat on the bottom to start with. Now you want to bring it up to the boil, and then when it starts to boil, you want to turn it down to a very gentle simmer. You want to put the lid on, and you want to simmer it away for 4.5 hours. Now, do you have a wooden spoon? Why? So you don't scrape the bottom of a metal spoon onto the bottom of your pot. Oh, but I've got a pretty old pot, Dad. Do you have a wooden spoon? Yes, Dad. Use it. Okay? Okay, Dad. So we're going to be using a wooden spoon to stir it. We're going to put the lid on. And now Dad's stressed. We have to stir it a lot, especially at the beginning and especially near the end. So pea and ham soup is something you want to do when you're home for the day and you're bumming around, cleaning up and painting and doing whatever you're doing around, where it's really easy just to come out to the kitchen every 15 minutes or so and give it a good stir, because the peas will stick to the bottom if you don't. Alrighty, we're at the 3.5 hour mark. This house smells amazing. Now at this stage we've got chunks of the skin and fat come completely off the bone now. So from now onwards, every time I stir it, whatever's floating to the top, I'm going to take out and throw away. Mate, it's been 4.5 hours and it is cooked to perfection. Well, there you have it, lovelies. I'm going to call it Dad's rustic pea and ham soup. I tell you what, I taste tested it at the end and I personally didn't believe it needed any salt, so I didn't add any. But mate, the flavour, it was packed full of flavour. So I did notice that half the peas went mushy and half didn't. Now it didn't make a difference while I was eating it because the peas that didn't go mushy was still soft. I could have cooked it a bit longer, but it was getting really thick and I didn't want to. And I'm glad I didn't because it's just perfect. You have to give this old school recipe a crack. Your whole family is going to love it. And I've got to say that putting the bone in the middle of the bowl absolutely brought back memories. So thank you for the recipe, Dad. She's a little beauty. Thank you all so very much for watching. Have yourselves a great night, a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next Monday. Toodles.